requirements of the International Maritime Organization, IMO, will enter into force in 2020. The new IMO regulation calls for a significant reduction in the sulfur content of marine fuels. To date, ships have been able to use fuel with a sulfur content of 3.5%. Beginning in 2020, fuel can only have a maximum sulfur content of 0.5%. This is meant to help lower the amount of emissions caused by ship operations. Thanks to the regulations, the shipping industry will become greener. By January 1st, 2020, the majority of vessels across the industry are expected to operate on low sulfur fuel. Relying on low sulfur fuel to meet the requirements will be the key solution for the shipping industry as well as for Hapag-Lloyd. It is also the most eco-friendly solution in the short term. By 2020, technical alternatives such as converting vessels to liquid natural gas, LNG, or using exhaust gas cleaning systems, EGCSs, will be more the exception than the norm. However, using low sulfur fuel will also be associated with rising costs, which will add up to an estimated $60 billion for the shipping industry in the first few years. Assuming that the difference between heavy fuel oil, HSFO, and low sulfur fuel, LSFO 0.5%, will be $250 per metric ton by 2020, Hapag-Lloyd expects additional costs of around $1 billion in the first few years. Overall, this will represent a major challenge for the entire shipping industry. All shipping companies will have to address this regulatory change and consider how the higher costs can be passed on to customers. For this reason, we have fundamentally revised our previous calculation of fuel costs. With our newly developed Marine Fuel Recovery (MFR) mechanism, which we will gradually introduce to our customers beginning on the 1st of January 2019, we will factor in the rising fuel costs resulting from the regulatory obligations. The MFR mechanism will make it possible to calculate fuel costs in a way that is allocated to cause, transparent, and easy to understand. The mechanism will replace all previous fuel-related charges and combine consumption with market prices for fuels. It takes into account various parameters, such as fuel and fuel costs, HSFO, LSFO 0.5%, and LSFO 0.1%, days at sea and in port, and transported TEU. These parameters are deduced from a typical representative liner service in the market or a shipping area. The MFR mechanism will also take better account of price fluctuations by better factoring in upward and downward movements in market prices for fuel. All in all, the MFR mechanism aims at a transparent allocation of costs. Our goal is to create the most economical solution possible for our customers, while reducing emissions and complying with the new legal requirements at the same time. Container shipping will continue to be the most efficient means of transporting large volumes over long distances across the world. We will rely on your